Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Who Invited Her. We are San Diego's longest running LGBTQ pop culture podcast. I am your host, Tony, and I'm here with my other host.
I'm Daddy Bear Eric.
Yes, and you guys, Bryn is unfortunately not here this week. She had a family emergency, but she'll be back next week. But we have a very special guest this week. I'm very excited to talk to. Let me pull up her humongous bio.
Oh no. Oh no. Have I fluffed too much?
No.
The 17 paragraph.
The 17
And then when I was 7.
When she was a child. No, I'm kidding. No, she is the founder of Chrome City Creative, HustleCraft, right? And co-creator of The Black Table and a podcaster. She does the Not a Parenting podcast with the San Diego Magazine. You are a creative. You cultivate creative people. And that is just the iceberg of like everything you have done. It is Alexandria Ott.
Hello.
She's joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am excited that you are here. During the research of this show, I love that you are a native San Diegan. You were born and raised here on the island, Coronado. When you're from San Diego, that's the island.
The island of white people.
Right. It is so true. I love Coronado. I've done so many when I was doing a lot of theater. I used to do a lot of shows at Coronado Playhouse and Lambs and all that stuff.
Lambs is beautiful.
Right?
No, I make fun of it, but I mean, I'm very grateful to have lived
So
there.
you grew up let's start from there. You grew up in San Diego, grew up in Coronado, and then you moved away for a long time. You went to Chicago.
Yeah, when I was 25, I was living in Bankers Hill right under the flight path.
Oh, God, I love
I mean,
Bankers
I
Hill.
felt like I had arrived. I
Right?
would stumble into my little Volvo and go work in Shelter Island, hungover as any child is.
Yes.
Ended up just feeling very called to Chicago after going to a wedding there and feeling very confused why my inner voice was calling me there because it made no sense.
Yeah.
And I remember one night I just said, like, universe, I think I hear you. If this is you and true, make it easy. And I swear I'm such a manifester. I called that shit. I opened the box and it was like apartment rented, car, blah, blah, blah. I'm on the plane.
Really? That quick?
Manifested it.
So because I've been to Chicago many, many times because my ex kind of grew up in that area and stuff. How was it going from San Diego, which San Diego is a very specific culture.
It is,
You know what I mean? Going to the hustle and bustle of a big metropolitan city like Chicago. How was that adjustment for you?
It was like heroin to my veins. Like it was. I was, first of all, a heavy smoker. Love of my life is nicotine. And so I remember arriving and like lighting a smoke and like waiting from some surfer to tell me it's going to go in the ocean. Yeah. And everyone was smoking.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, from the jazz to the fight for social justice in a way I was never exposed to just having a rainbow of friends. I mean, every like section of the rainbow, from culture to lovers to just, it was the most liberal and liberating place I'd ever been.
Yeah. And the weather was extremely different than San Diego. I will say that from experience.
It's so intense.
It's like cold when it's cold, and the summers are humid as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
But you like emerge from your cave and rage. Like it's insane.
It is.
Yeah, it was.
And the art scene in Chicago is so incredible, and even the theater scene, because there was a lot of I've seen so many shows in Chicago that have started there and ended up going to Broadway.
Very much so. One of my best friends' husband works with Steppenwolf.
Oh,
and so
Steppenwolf's a great theater.
It's so great.
They do really good work.
It's so incredible. I mean, yeah, it was just like
Eric's like, I have no idea.
It always turns into theater somehow.
Okay. But honestly, I'm not like actually a big theater person, so that's all I got.
That's all she.
I was like, wait, I have this little dropper. Perfect. Yeah, I know about theater.
So, what brought you to Chicago? What were you doing? Is that when you started the PR company out there?
Yes. So, I just felt like I was meant for more, and so I went out there to see what I was made of. But most of all, my father owned a PR firm here, and I didn't get like hooked up Well, yes, I did. I was totally spoon-fed the first job. But nonetheless, when he passed away when I was 19 and then I was still in his industry, people would look at me when they would see me and they're like, "You're Tony Ott's daughter?" And I got that pity face. And I was like, I'm trying to work hard. Fuck this. I love to work hard. And so I was like, I can't grow here, you know? But I wanted to go somewhere where I didn't know someone. So I didn't slip into, you know, whatever life I knew them in, that I could just slip into the life that was meant for me right at this moment, not determined by anyone I know around me. And I was like, what's a city where I barely know anyone? And it was Chicago.
Huh.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And I mean, I moved there in like April. It was 45 degrees. It was the coldest, and people were in shorts because it was the warmest for them.
Yeah,
but
for them, yeah.
Right. It's nutty, but yeah, it was wonderful.
So when you were out there, you started the PR company, and then you got pregnant.
Yeah.
And then that kind of changed your trajectory with your career and everything.
Yes.
So once you got pregnant, what made you decide to come back to San Diego? Was it because you're like, I got to be with family somewhere I'm comfortable?
Yes. I mean, I had risen to a place that I never thought was possible professionally. I owned a big agency. I was a girl from San Diego with no connections, no family, no money. And I was at the peak of my career. We had this huge event for my 30th birthday, and I looked at my mom who had flown out, and I go, isn't it crazy that at this time in your life, you are about to have me and I'm nowhere close? And 2 months later, I found out I was pregnant.
How did that like change your whole mindset as a woman with this huge career where you kind of like in the deep, like, what the fuck do I do now?
Yeah.
Like, how did you handle that? And what made you put the PR company kind of on the back burner? And how did you balance career and motherhood and being pregnant? And promoting like on your clubs.
By the way,
that's what I was
just. By the way.
Whoa.
So I waited till I was 5 months pregnant because I'm a skinny girl always. You know, I'm just skinny girl shit. And I waited so long because our biggest client was like a group of like 5 super masculine men who ran these restaurant bars. They were the dopest, plants everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I know that type.
one of them. One of them was nice. And I told him one day, I remember saying, Danny, I'm pregnant. He goes, honey, I know. It was like, girl, you're skinny with that little bump.
Yeah. It's like,
yeah.
You trying to hide that? How are you trying to hide that?
I was like just wearing muumuus all of a sudden before I was wearing like a suit.
I wonder how was the reaction? Like, here's this little bitty woman with a pregnant going into promote these clubs.
Yeah, I mean, we did an art New Year's Eve party with this artist collective that basically their events felt like an elevated rave, with all due respect, because the art was incredible, but it was very well done. And I was 9 months pregnant.
Wow.
New Year's Eve in a full industrial warehouse,
Oh
like
my
people
God.
tripping balls, and I would get like the guys going like
Yeah.
the shock eye of the belly. So I wear like this tight dress. I'm still blonde, still wearing heels, looking fly, and everyone's like, "The fuck?"
Yeah.
So the way I balanced it was one day at a time. Not knowing anything about what I was doing, a tremendous amount of overwhelm, guilt, shame, misunderstanding of a decision I had made. I had made such smart decisions in my life. I got everything I wanted. I manifested. I was smart about the way I did things, and I lined myself up really nicely.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt immediately connected to the soul of whatever was inside of me. Like I had a dream. That's how I found out I was pregnant. I had a dream, and it was so vivid, of these 2 babies, and they were dry, and I mean, it was so vivid. And one sucked my breast and like plopped and got like moisturized and like fresh baby from like this tiny.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I told my graphic designer when I came to work, and I was like, I can't get this dream out. And she goes, you need to go to Rite Aid right now and get like a fucking pregnancy.
Whoa.
You're
test."
kidding me.
A Bible.
Wow.
Yes. And I was.
I would have been like, what kind of voodoo shit is this?
Yeah, right?
That's my
I would
life.
have freaked out.
No, my life is very like.
So you can have
visual.
dreams and tell us the lottery numbers? No.
I've played a few times to no avail.
So then you got pregnant.
Yeah.
And then how did pregnancy change the company you were running?
Yeah,
Creative?
completely. I mean, I fully admit I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never owned a company before, let alone pregnant and single. And I decided to launch the West Coast after my mom would call me 72, just letting you know, and I'm like,
freezing your butt off.
just can't feel my toes. I'm like, it's fine. It's great out here. It's great. I can't feel my toes.
Because you started Chrome City Creative,
Uh-huh.
and then there on she also has a pod. You co-host a podcast, Not Parenting Podcast, done by San Diego Magazine.
Yeah.
And on there, you admitted on the last, I think it was the last episode before your guys' season, and you're like, I don't really like PR. And I was like, oh, look at her shit. It was it made me laugh out loud because I had listened from the first episode. I'm like, oh, and then you're like, I just don't like PR.
I don't.
Do you not like doing it, or do you just not like the concept of it? I'm curious.
It's just that you're paying me every month to ensure that I can get you into a publication that I have no control over, even if I'm the queen of friendship with all of them.
Yeah.
So like then I have to go and take your money again because I have a team that needs that money, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to deliver. Like, how is that a sane thing? You know, I mean, there's so many outlets, so many mediums now. More podcasting, it's evolved so much.
Oh yeah,
but
it definitely has.
I like to control. I want to design stuff, create an event for you, bring people in, give them an experience where they know your brand.
Yeah.
And if you have a great PR team that can go and talk about that thing that I did for you, fabulous. Great. I don't want to do that part.
So when you decided to come to San Diego, is that when you switched from the creative or Chrome City Creative to HustleCraft? Or
no? So
how did those two come together?
So Chrome City was a creative agency known for PR, so people would call it a PR firm, but it was always a creative agency, PR, social, etc. I come out here, I'm ready thinking I'm going to rock this shit. I went to school in LA, like I got old homies, own businesses, fart, nothing. Like it was just dusty. Like it was 2018, there was nothing like happening with the economy, but like I wasn't OGs with people. I wasn't like talking about business deals yet. I wasn't like up at all the art shows being like, what's up? We should go get dinner. You know, like I had none of that. And I was like, what the fuck happened? So I started honestly stalking people on Instagram that I thought were really dope that lived here, but I had no reason to like be like, do you want to meet up? Because I don't have anything to offer. I have no company I've built. And I just built HustleCraft basically as like the dope people that I would see that I wanted to curate into a room that had a variety of voices from a variety of industries. And it's how I kind of got my foot in the door, was planning an event with people I didn't know that I thought were cool.
That's actually real. I would not be able to do that. I would be like, hi, I think you're cool. Do you want to hang out? No, okay. I'm never going to talk to you again. You know,
so hard
that
to make
takes
friends.
balls. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's no question that I'm ballsy. If you asked anybody,
I
think ballsy might be like.
So where did that creativity come? Like, what inspired you to do this collective of creatives in one room and go, you know what? I think this person's going to mesh well with this person. Let's get them all together, throw them in a pot and see what happens. Where did that come from? And why such a passion for that?
Yeah, I think that I had such a limited view of the world living in Coronado. Like I really did. And so I think it remains incredibly important to me after being in Chicago and being surrounded by so many different viewpoints and like freedom. Like there was just a freedom and liberation and the humanity of those people to be who they wanted to be, how they wanted to be it, that I had never seen, that it just became like, I need to go home and bring all this, you know, like I need to go home and like find the pockets that exist and bring it together, because we don't have a chance in San Diego to like really like all fuck with each other, you know. There's like
it's really
the
true,
Barrio crew, the La Jolla, and the this and the that, and it's like those people would love each other.
It's so true. It really is. Like, and there's so many cool pockets in San Diego. I mean, you have the neighborhood Hillcrest, and then there's South Park, and then there's North Park, and then you even have up north in like Encinitas. There's such a huge like art scene up there. It's just all over. And then like you had brought up Barrio Logan. I remember when Barrio Logan was like, oh, and now it's just turned into this craft beers and like, you know what I mean?
They've kept it. They haven't allowed it to gentrify.
Which is
like
great.
It's like the hot shit and it's their shit still, which is so important.
Thank goodness.
Which is hard to do.
It is hard. It is hard. And I still balance on the idea of like, if we built more, would it be better for them?
Yeah.
Like I understand both sides, but certainly stand with the way that they've done it, you know.
So does HustleCraft, do you guys still do events, or how is it working now?
So I was trying to figure out that one did well. It got me in the door, but the big thing that actually broke me here is the blank table. And that was an underground dinner series. Yeah. So I started with my friend Fred, and Fred
Keller, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's incredible. But I was like, what's with the food scene? And it was great, but certainly not what it is today. And I was like, what, you know, he had lived in Chicago as well. And I was like, what's like the hot shit? And he's like, let's do the hot shit. And so we started the blank table, and it sells out. It's fucking dope. I'm really proud of it. You go, you buy your ticket. You don't know where it's going to be or what the menu is going to be.
Yeah.
And you pop up at an old skate factory, on a dock, in a
garden. You guys
garage.
did garden for
Mission
one of your
Hills.
events. Yeah.
And so as Chrome City was nothing at that point. It was like I had this blank table. I had a few like clients here and there. And long story short, I like just in the last 6 months realized that Chrome City's ideals and what I built with that through thick and thin, through the failures in Chicago, through the nothingness of being here, I had taken that to make these experiences. I'm also the founding president, or the founding chapter founder, of Drag Queen Story Hour here in San Diego.
Which we are going to get to, because that is a hot topic. But I want to go back to blank table. So describe the event for people who may not be familiar with it, because I think it is such an interesting event.
Yes.
And the way that it is getting strangers together.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Important. See?
And how do you pick the themes? Like, how do you come up with, who comes up with the menu? Who comes up with the theme? And like, it's not just going to dinner. It's an experience.
Yes.
A whole experience.
Yes.
So where does those ideas come from? And like, what inspires it?
Yeah, I love seeing, it's so much work, by the way, the laborious nature of this project, because we're on a shoestring, like we're just doing it. It's insane. I mean, I couldn't move for 2 days after, but you know, it's a lot. But what inspires it and how it works is we will lay out the dates, and I will be on a constant hunt, whether I'm taking my kid to school or on a date, like finding weird spaces that are underutilized, or that are mysterious, or that are, I gotta feel it, you know?
Yeah.
And I find this space and figure out how to give them love. Like, you have photos from 17 weddings, but none of like a bunch of amazing people coming together with candles, having just a dinner. Like, let's use my photos that I'll pay for, a full video, and your space is going to look like the next hotspot for 40s and 50s birthdays, you know? So I always try to figure out like the business side of how they benefit. You know, like how, I don't want to be like, can I have your space for free? Like, you know, this is it's tough out here, you know, but I don't have a big budget. So I'm like, how can I truly bring value to you? So that's a big part, is bringing value to the businesses that we have it at. Number 2 is working with a chef, which varies. Sometimes Fred does it. Sometimes we bring somebody else in. And I really let them free, but we're lucky to work with a ton of local producers. And then the design, I work a lot with my girl Jill over at TBD San Diego. Like, she is a godsend of a human being. She'll do floral for me. She really helps this come to life. And I pick the music, I pick the vibe, I create like the whole intention, I design the menus, I do all the social, I find the shots of the people where I can see the moments where they're connecting. And I love seeing people come in so scared, because this is just a reflection of the world. Sit down and really go, oh my God, what's in this dish? Like, how did they think that like jalapeno and, you know, whatever it is that's paired, like satisfies me in a way that I'm like shocked by. And then
there's cocktails with it. You had mixologist,
yes, always. We have different ones every time. We've been so lucky to work with so many local businesses.
And it's getting strange. I like the concept of getting people who don't know each other to kind of have this intimate dinner together. And you're kind of forced to talk to people that you don't know and find out their story.
But you see people break. Like, there's like a layer.
I bet.
There's layers lost. And every time right before, I look at my boyfriend and I go, why the fuck do I do this? This is so much work. I could literally be watching like Sex in the City in my pajamas right now. Like, I'm dead. What the fuck? And then like 2 drinks deep, I look at him across the room room and we're like, we're doing
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
you know,
Like,
like
this is
yeah, it's
amazing.
great.
So when is the next blank table? Have you guys
Currently
decided?
planning.
Oh,
Currently
you
planning.
are? Okay.
Yeah, I haven't
Okay.
released the dates yet because you know.
So there is one in the works.
Oh, there's 3 in the works.
3? Oh,
Yeah, I'm
wow.
gonna do 3 more
Okay.
this year. 3 more this year.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got some really incredible things brewing. Work right now is incredible. I have like this amazing art world that I've suddenly stepped into
Yeah.
that I did a lot with food and art in Chicago. And food and chefs, and I don't know, it's feeling really good right
That's
now.
good. Where,
Yeah.
if people want to get more information about Blank Table and to get tickets and all that kind of stuff, where can
Yeah.
they go to find all that information?
My website has everything from Chrome City to the Blank Table to podcasts. So that is,
And you guys, it's right there above her head if you're watching us on YouTube. It's right there.
AlexandriaOtt.com
Yeah.
or Chrome City or the Blank Table. We're on Instagram and website.
I love the concept of the Blank Table. I think it's so cool. I like the idea of just going somewhere and you have no idea what the fuck's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
And it
good.
takes a certain kind of person to commit to that, but then when you have a group of those people together,
Yes.
it's just, I'm sure, magic.
You're yearning for something more. You're
Yeah.
yearning, and also post 2020, like we forgot that we needed that,
Yeah.
you know, and so to be able to sit at a table in 2023 is very different than ever before because we took it for granted.
For 100%. The pandemic, even the last president we had, it changed the world, and it's still
Yeah.
changing. I mean, we touched on it earlier. I mean, all the legislation and bills coming out against the LGBTQ plus community, and
Yeah.
you being part of that community, presenting the bi. So it's a perfect fill-in for Bryn today, because Bryn's our B in the LGBTQ, and Alex is here.
Hi.
Yeah.
Your
So
other
and
B.
so you are a huge activist for it, and you put together in San Diego the drag queen story hour.
Yes.
So and as a mom with 2 young kids, how has that affected your viewpoint on putting together the drag story and how you see your kids growing up in this world and
Yeah.
preparing them for like just this changing environment?
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, books, literature, and education for the children is what this is all about.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a literary moment to teach children. I personally, like ally or not, would not want to go just listen to a librarian read to kids. But
Yeah.
like you put on some glitter and a wig, and I'm like, all right, I could like live through this. I hate doing kid shit, by the way. That's why I started this, because I was like, at least I'm doing something with my kids. Like I'm like, you're coming to the store. We're going to whatever I need to do, and like, you know, maybe you'll get a toy. You know, I like really like
if you're good
kid stuff. Like even the kids' birthday parties, I'm just like, oh my god, this is. And I bless the souls of the moms, they're great, but like I hate it.
Yeah.
I literally hate it so
I get
much.
it.
It like
Yeah.
makes me itchy just thinking about it. So
That's
Drag Queen
hilarious.
Story Hour, I remember when we started, there was none of this legislation. So I
None of it.
really had no clue. Like
Right.
obviously I know about mistreatment and like assaults, you know,
Yes.
but like it was not
How it
at
is now.
all what it is right now.
Right.
And I remember like Jonathan, who's the founder in New York of the
Mhm.
entire 501c3, when I started it, when I was here, it's also to meet other parents who were like liberal and open-minded
Yeah.
because I'm coming back to San Diego. But he's like, please always walk your performer to their car to and from every
Yeah.
time. And I'm like, what? Like privilege. Like I had no clue that was, you know.
Yeah.
So I knew then that like there was something, but I took Henry to a protest.
Mhm.
This was, you know, protest time.
And Henry's your son.
Henry's my son. He's
How
6.
old is it? 6. Okay.
6, yeah.
Okay.
And I've taken him to many protests. We protested and walked with women's marches in Chicago together. It was always important to me to have him be part of that. But I do it even more because I was never exposed to it. So it's like always like I'm like still like trying to suck it down. Like I want all of it. Like I'm the super left white chick because like I'm like I didn't have it for so long. I want all of it. You know, I want to know all of it. I want to correct like what I was not taught, you know? Like it's important to me. And so we went to the Chula Vista. There was a protest. So I go down there. I think I stupidly thought, honestly, harmless, bring my kid and we're going to like fight for human rights. And I'm going to show him. And the hate that I saw on the other side and in the eyes of the people, honestly, you guys, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
It's tough. I mean,
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Like, it makes my heart race right now.
The
like,
thing that gets me with it is what they're coming in with, they have no base for it. Like it is coming from a truly hateful, ignorant place. You know what I mean? Like it
It's
is.
coming from the cross, and that's what like
That's what's
just
scary.
fucked me up.
Yeah.
Fucked me up. And that's what this is. I mean, that's the only shoe they have to stand. Like,
Mhm,
what the fuck are
mhm.
you even standing on?
Right.
Nothing. You're
Nothing.
standing on a book that doesn't even like. Come on. I'm not even gonna go into it because
I
I'm not even
know.
like.
I went into it on the last show, and it's to me. I grew up Jehovah's Witness,
Oh
and
wow.
you know, growing up in organized religion, it makes you see things very differently when you come out of it. Because Jehovah's Witness was a cult. I said it from day one. It's a cult. But
I
that's
have
like
a lot
the
of things to say about
only.
it because
Yeah.
I was super Christian. I
Oh,
was
see?
super Christian. I was like Jesus girl like when I was 18.
Really?
You guys.
How did you? I wonder if your experience is the same as mine, because you grow up with this mentality, almost like brainwashing, I call it.
Yeah.
And then when you kind of go out into the real world, it is a reprogramming of your brain, and it's not easy. So
No.
how is your journey like coming from a very Christian background and then being like, you know what, this isn't for me,
Yeah.
and then trying to live your life
It's important. I wish more
authentically?
people talked about it. In fact, there is a girl in San Diego whose sole podcast
Yeah.
is what she left the church and she invites people in who have talking about crazy, amazing
Oh,
stories.
yeah.
I'll find the name. I realized later, because I had so much guilt for how long I had lived my life, I later realized that I am a deeply empathetic spiritual person, and what was introduced to me and given to me was God. Mine wasn't like enforced religion. It was very like surfer Christian, like let's do good for others, but like that was, it was like it was a feel good church. I didn't have like a bad experience like so many others. But what it stands for now, and this is what it's more about to me, it wasn't the indoctrination of the church itself, because it was nice. It was community. There
Yeah.
are a lot of good qualities when you
Sure.
pull out a lot of the bullshit. But it was that what it stands for is so far from the human that I am that it's impossible for me, my body, my values, my everything to ever align with it ever again. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
because
just
it's especially in the climate we are now, and how religion is becoming such. This is, as a parent, I'm curious to see what you think of this. Is they're using religion to tell parents how to parent their kids
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
You know,
how?
and
Like
it's
an
like the government's
interpretation. Like what do you mean?
interrupting and telling you need to parent this way. And as a parent, how do you fight that when like the
Yeah.
higher powers in this
And having
country?
other parents pressure you at the same time, and I'm sure they probably guilt and how do you
How
deal
do you
with that?
deal with that? I know.
I just have to come back to like literary love, like for Drag Queen Story Hour.
Yeah.
Like it's about teaching and opening minds. We can have books that you can choose for your child not to read, but we can't not offer them because they offer a variety of experiences, and our children need to learn to critically examine situations, authors, roles in
Exactly.
the book,
Yes.
who was placed where and why. Like, what does this book mean in the context of the world? If we're going to take away critical thinking, we're taking away freedom. And how are these people who are saying that they're
Exactly.
fighting for freedom,
Yes.
like the most,
It is so
like real, like
right.
you're taking books away? How do you
Yeah.
not compare this to 1942? Like, I
Yes.
don't understand.
Yeah. And it's just like we've talked on this show about how we said when Roe versus Wade happened, it was like they came for women, whether it was queer women in general, anybody who identifies as a woman, whether you're a queer woman, trans, all of it. And now it's going for the rest of the LGBTQ plus, and then after that,
It'll go for race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we are literally going
I
backwards in this
know.
country. It is so infuriating.
We have to march. I mean, I truly like.
Yeah.
It's so easy to be like, oh, it's like nice out and I don't feel like going. Like,
No, you have to
like
get out there.
yes,
That's the only way.
like what, even to be more just around people who believe in it to make you feel a little bit more like you can get through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that alone.
Or
is
use
like,
the platforms you have. Like I'm like on your guys' podcast, not the parenting podcast, you bring such a variety of stories in this first season that you guys had, where you're showing different parts of parenting, not just the husband, wife.
right.
It's just so many gamuts of parenting.
I know. And like the faster we could all be a wonderful society of outgrowing trauma and outgrowing bad patterns as like culture. And I feel like from the left of where I am, we're like being interrupted for us to grow with our friends. And that's why we have to focus on that. Like, we have a home that's filled with so many friends that have so many different kinds of families. You know, our closest friends are two men that are married to each other with two adopted daughters, and we believe in the same things. Like, we love our family, but we love our adult time, and our double dates, just us, is just like the best. And we're so stoned and we're so silly, and like it's just
stoned. You speaking my language.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about the podcast, because you do the Not Parenting podcast that's done by San Diego Magazine with Claire Johnson, who actually owns the magazine.
Yes, she
and
does.
her story of how she acquired it is very interesting. Listening to the podcast, because she goes into it.
Yeah,
and it's kind of inspiring. Like, just going and who does magazines now? And it's like the old school way of media.
Yeah, I mean, they are a holistic media company, and they are about to just, she's so innovative. She's from New York. She worked for NBC. So we are lucky to have a woman like that in San Diego leading, holding on to and preserving. I mean,
San Diego Magazine, which has been around for a while,
75 years this year. I mean, you can't, that's unheard of. 75 years for how young of a city we are too. You know, we're not like Boston, magazine. Okay, cool,
we're not like New York.
Right.
We're still considered, we're not even like LA.
I know. Yeah. So they're changing things. It's a new guard, and they're coming out of the pandemic, like, understanding the needs of humans in a way. You know, it's like we're going back to humanity, and that's why I say I don't like PR, because like I want to go back to like the simple form. I like the simple form.
And maybe that's the key for change and moving the needle in a bit.
It
you
is,
know what I mean?
guess what? I'm making more money than ever, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy.
And making change. That's the other important
thing.
Like,
I'm calm. Like, I'm cool, you know? Like, it's gone are the days of having panic attacks at work and having to deliver and being overwhelmed. It's just like...
So describe the podcast for anybody who hasn't heard of it, or if they're new to it. How would you describe it?
So Not a Parenting podcast is a podcast about unconventional parenting, the relationship between business and parenting, and really exploring a post-pandemic San Diego, and like, where are our hearts at? Like, where are we at? Where is our mental health at? How are our kids doing? What can we do for them? What should we not be doing for them? So it's a great modern look at parenting from Claire, who's incredible. She comes from two mothers, or her parents divorced, queer mom,
and her husband too comes from
has
queer parents.
That was like their first date. It was just like, let's just get it all out there. I'm 23 and blah blah blah, and my mom's gay, and he was like, I'm Troy, my mom's gay. What? You know, there's like, oh my god, no, they're great. They're such a great.
I do like the podcast because it's really not just for moms. You guys really bring in a variety of stories and people. Important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, from partum to,
which is a hot topic, because I know we had talked about it before we were recording. My sister went through postpartum really bad after her first child, and you and Claire actually talk about it on the show.
Yeah, we're filming this season right now, and it's so good. And she's really like coming into just the ownership, because it's so hard to have perspective in that moment. No one can ever prepare you for just the intense roller coaster that it is. And I was crazy enough to have a second. I mean, I don't know what.
Did you have postpartum with the second child?
I had postpartum anxiety really bad.
See, my sister had it with her first child, but the second she didn't have it as bad.
The anxiety is just, obviously, as we know, it appears so differently. So I was thinking postpartum depression, I can't get out of bed. I was high functioning, but I would walk into a room with a lot of people, and
the anxiety. That's what
I mean, it was my son's son's birthday. That was at the Jumpy Place, and we walked in, and there was like 6,000 children, and I looked at my best guy friend, and I knew he was stoned, and I was like, I can't, baby. I can't. Just like, he knew, like, he knew my soul. He knew my soul. I was just like dripping sweat. I was just like, So,
how did you get through the postpartum? Like, what tools did you learn? And what advice would you give moms out there who may be dealing with it right now?
I think, for one, my best advice and my saving grace is that Jason and I have a schedule that Tuesday nights are my night. He takes the kids. Wednesday nights are his night.
Nice.
I take the kids. Thursday nights are date night. Friday, always home with the kids. Weekends with kids. And so, I start my week just trying to make it through, and then it's my night. Oh shit, I'm gonna go to a yoga class.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this out of privilege that I have a partner who supports me in this, right?
Yeah,
Like
right.
full disclosure, like
Yeah,
I'm very
right.
lucky. But it that little moment for me to have, for him to have, for us to come back together but be separate,
Yeah.
really, really shaped like my wellness, my healing.
Yeah.
I did a type of therapy that I'd never done before, EMDR. I don't know if you guys have
I don't
ever
know.
done
I've
it.
heard of it, right?
Yeah, and it's either like eye movement, rapid eye movement
Oh,
that
really?
helps rewire your
Okay.
brain. Yeah, and there was just like
That's good for a lot of PTSD, right?
PTSD.
yeah, and
Yeah.
recurring thoughts. I was having a lot of weird recurring thoughts around like
Oh.
friendships and like, why does that person not want to be my friend anymore? And I'd be like thinking about a friend from like 23. I'm like, girl, you're living like a nice house in Kensington with like
Yeah.
a Range Rover. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I have lots of
Yeah.
anxiety too,
Oh my
so I
God.
get it.
Yeah.
We talk about
you can't-
anxiety on the show
yeah.
a lot.
It sucks. You can't control
Yeah,
it.
No.
sometimes.
After I had the whole bout with cancer, like that PTSD from that, it still happens. Like the
Yeah.
anxiety from that still is
Do you
there.
get like flashbacks?
I get when I just think I'm constantly dying. Like
Oh,
I
yeah,
have a
'cause-
cough, I'm like, it's cancer.
Yeah.
And then your brain just
a
goes
lot.
down that rabbit hole.
Mm.
And then you learn tools in therapy to be like, you know what? No, this is what it is. You
Yes.
recognize it
Yes.
and go.
Right.
But it is for anybody out there who's
Yeah.
dealing with any kind of trauma.
Yes.
And then you
Yeah.
have to deal with the aftermath of that
I mean,
trauma.
we're all
That's
honestly
yeah.
in trauma right now.
Yeah.
With what's
I
happening.
mean, we just
No
came out of
shit.
the pandemic. You have it
Yeah.
some way or another. Somehow.
People are killing people everywhere. Jason and I
Yeah.
were talking about it. We
Oh.
were cheersing last night with our little drink after the kids went down, and I was like, cheers to us like doing it
yeah.
when like all of this like hate, violence against women, against
Yeah.
the LGBT community, against everything.
I know.
And here we are still-
Any other
we're
race
still
out
loving
there. Yeah.
each other though, and we have to
Yeah.
hold on to that and actually like clap. Like when you're sitting at a table with friends and some candles are lit and you're like 3 bottles deep and you're just like, here we are, yes we are. We have to actually really appreciate that.
Yes.
You have to, because you don't know how long you'll have it.
I
And
mean-
it may just be that moment. So you got to be in that moment, enjoy it, and recognize it.
And that's why I suggest the
Yeah.
kids. That's why
Yeah.
you're saying like, why would you have kids in this moment? Or we were talking about
Yeah.
like what it's like.
Yeah.
It's like you are having to frame the world and find the love and like scoop it and bring it together as like a fortress around them. And then all of a sudden it's like your own new world.
Yeah.
Like then all of a sudden it's like, this is our world. We haven't left the house in 2 days. We're having fucking pancakes. We're dancing to like disco records.
How do I get adopted
Oh,
into
yeah.
that family?
No.
Come over. Disco records and pancakes.
So,
That's so
the other
fun.
thing is like you were a very career mom. You
Yeah.
had your career. You have your children. How did you find time for social life and developing friendships?
Yeah.
Because I know like some moms out there struggle with that.
It's hard. It
Yeah.
depends because for what I do, it's so social. You know, I'm
Yeah.
constantly
Yeah.
like, who's the next best artist, best DJ? How can I bring them in? What will work well? Like, how do we curate? Like, so, you know, like for example, Claire Johnson is somebody that I value with all the depths of my being because she's mature, she's
Yeah.
well read, she's a great mom, but she has other things where we fuck up, we like to go out, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like you find your people, but I found my like in that friendship because we were working together. So
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's important, but I also think just clearing out the like muck of old friendships, like you actually have to open the door to new friendships.
Oh,
So like
that's-
stop
yeah.
like pretending like that person that never texts you to check in on you is like still one of your top 5. You know, like no, are
That
they?
applies to every
Yeah,
friendship.
like
You know what?
everybody
That is so
needs to
true.
like, you know, clear out the closet a little bit, like dig out the mud a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
because you can't have flowers grow. Sorry to be cheesy, but like if you've got all this, you know, muck,
Yeah.
like this really weird thing I used to do is when I was feeling overwhelmed with anxiety, I used to picture scooping, like me scooping dirt, and like that dirt was the heaviness and weight of the
Yeah.
like feeling, and like scooping all the way out of my body. But
Mhm.
I swear that scoop helps when I'm like, I need to scoop this list of friends so I can make way for new. And I just picture myself being
That
like,
is a
don't need that. Like
great
we're good,
concept.
girl.
I love
Clear it
that.
out. Like watch it get cleared.
Yeah.
And and I really think that like that opens up the door. But like we're clogged when we're new moms and we're like, I'm fat. I'm like, don't want to fuck, but I should. And like it's so much pressure.
Oh, hey, that's me.
Yeah.
I'm fat and I don't want to fuck. I swear to God. That's my drag name. I'm fat and I don't want to fuck. Welcome to the stage, everybody.
I love her.
Oh, me too. That sounds like my kind of girl.
Yeah. She's a lot of fun.
Relatable.
I know.
Everyone's like, relatable. Here's my dollars. Dollars for being
Since we're
relatable.
talking parenting, I do have a question for you. That's what my sister actually asked is, what she's struggling right now because she has 2 kids and she has an amazing husband. He is like the coolest, supportive guy in the world. And so they're coming back to San Diego. They just
Right.
moved back from Arizona. They're living in Temecula. They just bought a house. She is like, how do I find somebody I trust for childcare? Like,
Yeah.
they're because they lost their childcare from where they
Yeah.
were, and now they're coming to a new city.
Yeah.
And how do you find somebody you trust
Yeah.
to watch your kids? Like, how did you do it?
Well, one, I have interns from San Diego State University that
See,
were,
that's
girl,
smart.
the university route is the route for me. I mean,
Yeah,
those girls
okay.
are like, they're working hard. They miss their families. You know, they're
Yeah.
like just right away from home for the first time. So
Oh,
they're
I
like
never even
sweet
thought about it that way.
angels.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're not going to, I mean, you know, they've gotten themselves this far, right?
Yeah.
True.
You
Yeah.
know,
True.
like that's hard
Yeah.
to do. So I've been lucky that like we've found somebody that way, but there really are like Facebook groups. Like there's probably definitely like a, you know, where she what
In
did she mention?
Temecula.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Temecula moms where there's
Yeah.
resources shared.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, our babysitters range from like family, like my mom watches
Yeah.
the kids a lot too, but like the day to day, one time I found a nanny this way. We were at a restaurant. Our server had the best energy ever, and I was obsessed with her. And we were freaking out about finding a nanny. And I was like, I want someone like her. So I just told her. I said, I know this is really weird, but I love your energy. If you know anyone that's like you and has your energy, like I'm trying to find. And I figure like sometimes servers also have like, you know, hustler, right? Like if it's you, no, cool. And she was like my sister, and she became our nanny for 2 years. And you guys, she's the love of my life. When she left, I thought I was gonna die. Like,
oh my god, this
So,
is
like,
actually a really cool story.
I know. See, manifest.
Yeah.
You know,
Manifest. You put it out in
Yeah.
the universe, and
it
comes
is
to
hard. I
you.
mean,
Yeah.
there's no right way.
Yeah.
Finding schools, signing up kids for school. I'm so behind. It's so much. Oh
Yeah.
my god. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, parent teacher conferences. Holy shit! Like
Yeah.
now.
My sister is constantly tired. She's like, I
Same.
just want to sleep.
Same.
Yeah.
She's like, that is one thing. She's like, you'll never understand. I'm constantly
No, like your
tired.
bones hurt. That's how tired you are. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
She's just like, I'm tired. I'm always tired. It's always. She's
Yeah.
like, the only time she's had like adult conversations is when she's hanging out with me.
No,
but the kids are there.
She needs
Yeah.
more.
I know. I'm like, girl, come
No.
on.
That's right. I remember having coworkers where I'm like, they're so tired. I was like, is it safe you drove to work this
You're
morning?
right.
Sure.
Yeah, like this seems really
Yes.
dangerous.
But I see what my sister and her husband do with the kids, and they have 2, and they're little, and I'm just like, you guys, that is like a full-time job. I don't know, and you have your full-time jobs on top of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
it's a hard world to juggle.
Jason and I actually just started going back to therapy,
Yeah.
and we found a psychotherapist this time. And let me tell you, it is the greatest thing I've ever done. I love therapy, but
Everybody should be in therapy at least
yeah.
once
I
in their life.
mean,
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
even a question anymore? The psychotherapist, though, he talks most of the time, and
Yeah.
he'll like explain how 2 people come back to love, and some people do it this way, and some people fight this
Ah.
way, and here's what you're fighting. But he'll never be like, Jason, I can tell that you're the one that's da da da, Alex. And so there's never the blame or like rehashing.
Yeah.
It's very much like, here's how 2 people can usually function where it doesn't help the relationship, and here's how we come back to love. So time's up. And we're like,
Yeah.
okay. So we like walk away with like a prompt, and we're like,
Yeah.
how do we come back to love instead of like, you're doing this again? You know, like we
Yeah.
were so far
Yeah.
apart, and we had 2 kids, and we love each other. And we like, when I kiss him, I literally feel like shaky all over my body. Like we just have
Aw.
amazing chemistry.
Now
And I
you're
also
gonna make me
I
tear
know.
up. Like, you're the one. I
I
know.
feel
Like, how do we find that?
Actually,
Jesus
literally,
Christ.
when I was coming
Oh.
over here, I was like, you know what's important that people don't talk about is when they have a really hard, but like hard work
Mhm.
into their relationship, but also a deep connection and chemistry. Like I don't hear those stories a lot.
And I'm like, a relationship, no matter whether it's a friendship, whether it's a relationship with your mother, whether it's a relationship with siblings or your partner, it takes work.
Yeah.
And the more, and if you put work into it, that is going to come back and that is going to show in the relationship. I truly believe that.
Yeah. Well, we've also grown out of when it was just friendship because we were out in our 20s.
Yeah.
It's like, we're also just learning. Like, we have to give ourselves grace that, like, through our 30s where we were like, oh, you have to work at this. And maybe you lost somebody for a minute. Maybe you had to like kick someone out. Like, let's give ourselves grace that we were just learning. There's no book for this. Our parents had like the same friends forever. Like, my mom's always like, what? That you're not friends with them anymore? I'm like, it's called toxic, Mom. She's like, just be nice to her. Like, she has like, but they didn't have that. Like, we are like mapping the way for like adult friendships, and we have so much more in our vocabulary about mental health and how to help and how to step back and boundaries. Like,
well, that was another thing. I think our parents' generation, they didn't talk about mental health. It was just you just bottled those feelings and they came out in other ways. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where I think it's a lot better now. Like, we talk about mental health all the time on the show, and I think it's important to have those conversations, whether it's with your friends or your partner or whoever. But you know, the more you talk about, the more you make it normal.
Right. Yeah. And the more you just can understand the world around you, like we said, like going back to the books.
When does the new season of Not a Parenting Podcast come out?
Mother's Day.
Oh, perfect. So that's coming up, May.
Yeah. Marketing moment.
There you go.
Taking advantage. Hallmark holiday.
And you guys, any
we've got
like
a great lineup.
I'm excited.
I mean, we're talking about recovery. We have somebody that's like sober and also recovering from years-long eating disorder, which I would like such an important because a lot of moms, they want to get skinny right away. Nobody's going to be like, yeah, so I have full anorexia. Like, how good do I look? Like, it's not like that, you know?
Right.
So
it's true.
Hers was, her name's
God
Odette
knows
Kressler,
eating disorders within the gay community is a thing.
And there's so much variety in it that I didn't realize, you know, even like restriction. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I always restrict what I eat. Like, that's part of the brain of it all. It was fascinating.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be, I'm excited for
it. I know. I want to, I can't
it's
wait.
It's great. I mean, honestly, we have an interior designer who's incredible. I mean, just an array of women from, you know, hospitality owners who were divorced during the pandemic. I mean, a pandemic 2020 divorce story. I was like, here for it. Tell me everything.
That sounds like Bryn.
Bryn went through that. Yes.
Her being a single mom and trying to do stand-up comedy and writing a book. Yeah, she went through the.
But honestly, that is being alive. Like, that life is great. You know, I think that we compare, we're on Instagram, but like when we really go within, like a life of like good sound, good visual, whether it's people's faces or great art, like just make this it, because it's so bad out there. Like, invite people into your space and like build your people and build new communities.
Build your tribe. Build your tribe. That is like so true.
And make sure that it's who you are today, right now. Like, ask yourself that, you know, like,
and allow yourself to change. I think. Be okay with that.
Exactly.
It happens.
Because change can be good. I know that from first hand. Look at the show. All the change we went through in the what?
Yeah.
Six
this
seasons.
Show's so different than
when we started it.
What do you guys think is the biggest difference?
We talk serious topics. And
it used to be a lot of fluff the first 2 seasons. We're like, let's get drunk.
But it was funnier.
Like
and it was always jokes and jokes.
Now I think I've learned, now that I'm a little older, it's really nice to have those moments. And then bring in the funny. You got to give a balance.
Have I given enough funny though?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because
actually, we're gonna get into a little more fun right now. Let's do it. You want it? We're gonna do a segment we do with all of our guests. So let me find where's my music at?
Oh. Getting to know you.
I'm so nervous and excited at the same time.
Getting to know you. Getting to
know. I love you. Yes, this is a segment we do, Getting to Know You. I am going to pick some random... Wait, be quiet. That's enough. Okay. I'm going to pick some random questions. And we're going to... You have to answer them.
Okay.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
I don't know what they are. So.
I know. I love this stack of cards. Just... You know who introduced me to this? He used to have a podcast here in San Diego, Matt D. Hanging with Matt D. Yeah.
Okay,
He had the same thing when I was on his show.
Yeah.
Okay. First question. Back in high school, what was the strangest thing someone could find in your locker?
Oh, my Lanta. Well, in high school.
In high school. Were you a preppy kid in high school?
Okay, yes. I was a cheerleader.
How did I Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but why? Because I needed a sport on my college application. 'Cause I'm not athletic. I am not athletic. I was like, can I just stand in the back and like lift the little girl up?
Right?
I'm tall.
Yeah.
Kind of queer.
Just a little.
Let me just grab your ass and throw you up. Practice. Whoa. Yeah. I mean, people who don't know me, like who know me from my life right now, I like, dress a little more masculine, and that's heavy vibes of like power bitch. So the cheerleader thing is probably
power
the
bitch.
funniest.
I love that.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna put that on a shirt. Power bitch.
Yeah, I love that.
So what was it in your locker? That was a little strange, a little weird, a little.
No, like my cheerleading uniform.
Really?
Like, it's just
Okay.
like surprising. I don't know.
That would be a little surprising.
I used to share a locker with my first love, and we would put like long love letters.
Oh,
Not so strange. Sorry, I'm very vanilla in certain ways.
Are
and
you?
a little
Oh, yeah.
colorful in others.
All right, next question. If humans came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Oh my jeez. Mine would say, she will overanalyze you.
Oh, there you go. Oh, okay.
Warning, you're being analyzed.
You're being analyzed. Yeah.
Or maybe like, psychic witch that cries a lot. I don't know.
That's another great t-shirt. Psychic witch and cries a lot. I love that. Okay, ready for your next one? Oh, I love when this question comes up.
I like
What is the weirdest place you've had sex?
Oh, I would say, where's the weirdest place I've had sex? I don't know.
Is that where you're vanilla?
Yeah.
In the bedroom.
We were just talking about it with our therapist.
Oh,
He's like,
you
well, what if you
were?
did like a little 10 minutes here? And I was like, honestly, our like in the bedroom moments are a 12 out of 10 every time. Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel the need
Have
for
you ever
it.
fantasized about having sex somewhere, but you just haven't pulled the trigger yet?
I mean, yeah, I have. I like good old open acres, like
see, that's hot.
like forest.
Oh God, yeah. Throw down a blanket, not even a
Yeah.
blanket. Just
Yeah,
go
no,
over a
just-
stump and
Yeah.
just go to town.
What about you, Tony? Do you have one?
Where haven't I had?
Yeah.
You know what I always thought would be fun? Like, because this reminded me of it. So Circus Vargas was in town not too long ago. I always thought it would be like an empty big top, like right in the middle of the ring. That would be hot.
That is hot. I
It's
like that.
It's a little
fine.
weird, but what about you, Eric?
I
I mean, you've had sex literally everywhere.
Yeah, I actually think so. It was at the Aria Hotel in Vegas, and I was like, it was a full glass window, and I was fully up.
This is a fantasy, or this happened?
This actually happened.
Yeah, because I was like, this
Oh.
sounds
And
very
I,
real.
And I was
I
like,
know.
fully up against the glass the entire time. And
Yeah,
like,
I
I like that.
you could probably kind of see in from the.
Did your
rooms
ball
nearby.
fall out like at Pride?
I mean,
Pride.
everything was out.
Oh, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
like
For the
10,
whole
12-foot
Oh,
ceiling of
yes.
people.
Christ.
I'm a huge voyeur though.
Oh,
Like,
you
I
are?
love yes.
I'm not at all.
Oh my
Do you
god.
like to watch or be watched?
No, I like to watch.
Yeah.
I'm like a pervy little kid. I'm just like, oh man, they're fucking. Oh my god, he's sucking on her titty. Like, yeah, it's weird.
I get that.
But also,
I get
like,
that.
yeah, like I used to date this guy, and he lived right across a building in
Yeah.
Chicago where you could see right in. And I was like, I'm coming over, pour me a bourbon. I'm gonna sit and watch all night. Like, I just wanted to sit, and I was like, oh, he's
I
fucking.
would
I mean, Sex and the
totally
City
do
style.
that.
Yeah.
I would totally do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's
good
hot.
entertainment.
I'm sorry, but that's hot.
I know.
Okay, next one. Have you ever accidentally text the wrong person?
Oh my god.
And
yeah.
how did it turn out?
You know, when you screenshot a conversation of somebody who's
Oh my
so
God.
stupid, and then you go to send it to somebody, but you send it to them.
Oh, and then that panic.
Oh.
That panic.
Oh, so many
Yeah.
times I've sent the wrong email to the wrong person at work. Like, I fucked some shit up. I'm going too fast. Yeah.
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 How did
Gotta
it turn
slow
out?
down.
Like, how do you get yourself out of that situation?
I'm charming. I don't know.
Yeah, you really don't. You just do your best.
I just
to-
deny.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Okay. How fast can you say the alphabet?
A B C D F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z.
That was
Holy
fast.
shit! I wasn't expecting that. What
Now
the
it goes
fuck?
back to the previous one of going too fast.
There-
get it
yeah, I
now.
know.
Jeez. No wonder the email goes to the wrong.
I know. All right, let's do one more.
Wait, first of all, the impressed look on your face like gave me like, oh my god, I feel seen. Like it was
I
really
feel
weird.
seen,
I was
yeah.
like, oh my god, he liked it. Like I didn't know how that was gonna go, and I was like, oh my god, he was impressed. He liked it. I just like got excited.
Okay, if you could bring one famous person back from the dead, who would you pick?
I would absolutely, sorry to be like stereotyped, but Jim Morrison is the love of my life.
That's a good one.
I
That's a
would
good
just
one.
travel the world with Jim Morrison.
That
Like,
would be
I know it's
so
so
much
cliche. I
fun.
feel like looking at me, you're like, of course you chose
She's
Jim
that girl.
Morrison. I love him. Yeah,
Okay.
I love the Doors.
Since you are a native San Diego and you're back in town and you live here, what part of town are you guys living in?
Kensington.
Kensington. Do you guys go to Ponce's?
Ponce's.
I love
Not
Ponce.
a fan.
Oh.
I'm not. My partner is.
Yeah.
I'm.
Oh, that's
Tony loves
underwhelmed.
Ponce's.
Dwayne loved
Dwayne loves
Ponce's.
Ponce's.
I love Ponce's because I like the staff there. They're always so cool.
okay,
Mike
yes.
and all of them are
Yes.
cool. And they pour a great margarita, but they've changed their menu. I used to like the old
Girls.
menu.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay,
for
so
it.
I'm going to ask you, since you're San Diego, where in San Diego is your favorite place to get Mexican food? Because we do have some of the best Mexican food.
Yes, we do. There's a spot on University called by Lafayette, Colimas.
Colimas.
I went there last night.
Isn't it the best?
I fuck with Colimas.
It is one of the best.
Chilaquiles, fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
but the
God, their
only thing is
California
that
burrito.
drive-through.
No, you
the
call
line,
ahead,
and pick it up,
motherfuckers.
yep.
I'm like, I can't
Yeah.
wait. Call ahead 20 minutes.
Yep.
It is one of the
The
best.
crunchy
like,
ground beef tacos are literal
Mm.
crack heaven. Yeah, love.
some of the best like drive-through Mexican food in San Diego.
Yeah, but Colimas, it's
on
better
University.
than better than sit down. It's
Yeah.
better than Ponce's. I'll put
Oh,
them up
yeah.
against each other.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite place in San Diego to grab a craft cocktail,
Yeah,
and favorite place when you want to go get fucked up in San Diego.
Lancers.
Lancers,
Fucked up.
yes, down
Lancers.
over in
Yes.
It is
University
the
Heights.
best
Yes.
dive bar of all time.
Yeah.
Fucking pool table.
Lancers.
I am obsessed. I went there
right
the other
around
day.
the corner from Cheers.
Yes.
One of the only
Yes.
one of the
Cheers.
oldest gay bars here in San Diego
Yes.
left. Yeah.
Oh, you can smell that place from
I
a mile away.
know.
You like walk out of yoga, you're like, I feel so good. What the fuck is that
Yeah.
smell?
Cheers.
Why do I want it?
Why am I in here?
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
literally.
so Lancers for when you want to get fucked up.
Yeah, and just like, it's
a good place for a good craft cocktail.
I don't want to give it away because it's always packed now, but it's my favorite is Botanica.
Oh,
Botanica
okay.
just opened on University by the B Saha Group, which also owns Wormwood and
Wormwood,
Tahona.
yeah,
Okay.
Wormwood's
And
new.
Oculto.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
kind of
Wormwood's
new.
great, yeah.
yeah. They're the absinthe bar, right, or
Yes,
restaurant? Yeah.
yes. And their new bar is like, you walk in, it's all women behind the bar.
Oh, I love
It's so good. The design is incredible. He just understands the way he uses women for what they do
Yeah.
and like lets them shine. I applaud him as like a man that does business in the city
that.
because
Oh,
like
awesome.
the women, Janina, their corporate chef, an incredible human, and what she does with their food is the best. I think I'm gonna give it away. I don't want to gatekeep, but that group, hot.
Yeah.
Love
Hmm.
them.
Okay, last one. What is your favorite hidden gem in San Diego?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have a few. One is this little tiny beach in Point Loma that's not like
I'm
it's
trying to think where it's at. Okay.
it's the one that everybody thinks they know as the secret beach, but there's like another one. It's on Bessemer Street, and we'll
Oh.
like roll up there and like paddle out, and it's like nobody knows, and it's so cool, and you feel like you're on this little
Is it
island.
like the best?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's like this weird little place. Like if the tide isn't right, you can't go. But like
Yeah.
just like fucking, we'll get a little stoned. I get a little stoned sometimes if I'm anxious. So
Me
get a little
too.
stoned.
Yeah.
Just a
You
little here
know?
and there. Hardly ever.
Yeah. Pack up and just so I love that. Another hidden gem. This is hard on the spot.
I know.
This
This is what while you think about it,
Okay, yeah.
one of the things I really do love about San Diego. It's a very outdoorsy
Yes.
city for
Mhm.
anybody who loves the outdoors because our weather is you can't beat our weather.
I know.
Right? But there are so many hidden little gems, like hiking trails,
Yes.
beaches,
Yes.
all over the county, whether it's down in Chula Vista all the way up to Encinitas. There are tons of them, even going out to like any of the trails out to like La Mesa and El Cajon and
Yes.
Alpine, all of that.
It's
That's one
incredible.
really cool thing in San Diego.
Yeah, and I think even for your sister who is moving here and trying to figure that out, it's like also like give herself time to like acquaint the kids with the city so she can like kind of like build herself up too. You know, like it can be so overwhelming. We'll have this grand idea of like going somewhere and doing something with the kids, and then she's screaming and he's like not getting his way, and we look at each other like, why did we do this? But I think it's good. It's like a cool way to get close to your kids when you move, because you all kind of like come together like, okay, this is new, like what are we gonna do? And you actually really do get closer because you are experiencing things for the first time through their eyes, and they're experiencing that vulnerability with you because it's your first time, like getting a pie and julienne or whatever it is, you know.
Pie and julienne. Oh my God, I haven't done that.
I mean, this isn't a hidden gem, but I do love a cocktail on the patio of the Hotel Del in Cornwall.
Oh yes. If you haven't done that in San Diego, you need to go do that. That's like a staple.
So
in a
great.
way.
Yeah. You know what I found is there's a diner at the golf course in Balboa Park that has this beautiful view of like into downtown and the rest of the park, and it's like true diner. I got a patty melt.
Yeah,
that was fantastic. Yeah, and
I've heard about that place.
Yeah, I just looked it up, and I live in Golden Hills, so it's very close. And I tried it out. And I'm like, this is amazing.
I went to Black Radish the other night. Have you guys been there?
No, I've never
on
heard of it.
University, up the street from. We were just talking about Colimas, so it's like down towards Hillcrest a little bit more.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. It was the environment was great. Yeah, we really enjoyed ourselves. It was this like hippie old man that like met us. Literally, I think he had like a tie-dye shirt, like white long hair.
I love it.
And I was like, after a while, I was like, "Is this your restaurant?" He's like, "Yeah." And it's like so small that like the owner welcomes the people. And I was like,
I love that.
I like
shit.
you.
That's crazy.
I have two hidden gems. One is there's this little mom and pop diner restaurant in Mission Hills called the Huddle. And it's owned by a family, and they've owned it for years, and it is truly diner food, but they are like the coolest people, and it gets really packed on the weekends, like people wait outside, but it's like a little
the Huddle
hidden,
is a staple of Mission Hills. I used to live over
there for a long time.
I love that one.
That, and I love Bird Park up here near Morley Field, that little patch that looks over downtown, and during the summers they put on little small concerts there and stuff, but it feels like a very, very neighborhood park.
Yes, absolutely.
It's really cool. Those are my two favorites.
Yeah, it's great for 4th of July too, because you can watch
all
the fireworks.
Yep.
It's great.
I love those. But we're going to end the show with one of the segments we haven't done in a long time. And I am doing this because this one is a little bit of a stoner. So we're going to do, let me see if I can find it.
I'm like, which segment is this?
We haven't done it in Stoner TV.
Oh my God, what's that?
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yeah,
we haven't done this in a while.
I have to think of what I have.
Stoner TV is, okay, when you're getting high, you're in that moment, it is whatever you decide to do, whether it is watch a TV show, what is the one thing you do?
When you're stoned?
When you're stoned, that it just takes you to that spot, your happy spot.
I love to go for walks when I'm stoned.
Oh.
Yeah, like I love to just like get out and like breathe in the air and like look at the flowers and just like pull gratitude in. Honestly, it sounds so cheesy. It sounds like such a
Do you listen to music when you go?
Yeah,
what is your playlist?
I mean, I listen to everything from like a lot of 90s, like we were listening last night to like You Make Me Come, like Lit. I don't know, like really the band is called Lit.
I know,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So like I'm kind of
like
90s. I know it's
right?
so SoCal, like no doubt. We were talking about Papa Roach, like all these
like
ridiculous,
wow.
like
Jesus Christ.
they're San Diego.
Yeah,
we were just talking about like Jason and I will nerd out on music, but then I'll listen to like Janet Jackson, and then I'll listen to like I like a lot of like they call it mushroom jazz.
Yeah,
it's
I know
like kind of like
yeah.
house beats with like jazz.
Nice,
like that's my shit I listen to all day when I'm working. You know?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's like the lo-fi music.
Yeah, totally.
What is your stoner?
I mean, I've talked about it before, and so I love listening to music. And I listen to a certain kind of music that I don't normally listen to.
Oh God,
and it's the Taylor Swift
I
albums
know.
that she made in COVID.
I don't know why
Evermore.
you do this.
And I love to put my headphones in, turn it on so loud, and just rock out to the Taylor Swift album,
I
and I never listen to them when I'm not high.
It's so
It's
funny.
so
That is-
weird.
That is the gayest thing I think you've ever
because
said.
it's like slow, and she's
Yeah.
like singing like really deep things, and I love it.
I
love
don't
it.
get it with her. I'm
don't-
sorry.
I'm the
I
same
get
way.
it.
I
I
am
mean,
the
People
same
can't
way.
believe it.
I'm
you
just
don't like
like,
her. I'm like,
I don't
not my
get it.
jam.
I mean, it could cool for her, cool for her fans.
But if
cool
anybody
for-
said that about Beyonce, I'd be like, bye.
like
Like I'd be like, what? Like, how are we talking about this
Oh,
right
God.
now? Like that's not a question.
Yeah.
But like Taylor, I'm just like,
You're like, I could leave it or take
but
it.
I still have love that you do that.
There
I'm not
you
trying
go.
to talk shit.
my other thing is I love to watch The Nanny, even though
Oh, the nanny.
That's
Your obsession with the
amazing.
nanny
I
is
love
insane.
The Nanny, and like it doesn't
It really is.
translate well anymore. Some of the jokes are very inappropriate.
Super, yeah. You're like,
Yeah, but it's nice because you can like do like not pay attention for a second. It's that old 90s
Right.
TV, and then go back to it, and you're
Yeah.
like, I don't know what I missed, but it
I
wasn't
recently
anything
did
important.
Sex in the City from season 1, episode 1
Oh,
every
I've
night.
done that.
And everyone, all my friends will be like, yeah, I've done that. And I'm like, no, we are 37 right now. You have to
Yeah.
watch it again because they're like 37.
37
We
in
watched
the-
it when we were
yeah.
20. It doesn't
It doesn't
count.
count,
Yeah.
Do you think it holds up after all this time?
I am so obsessed. Like Jason would come in and I'm like, I'm not okay. I am them. They are me. I'm obsessed.
Did you watch the
Just
what is
like
it?
that?
Just like
Obsessed.
Yeah.
I don't know how people were so critical of it.
I was
very
like, we were critical. I was
Yeah.
like, because
It
I
made
was
me-
obsessed with Sex in the
I
City.
was
know.
too. I was
I
too.
loved it.
I think it was
Yeah.
more real. Like it was like really like how it is to grow up. Life
Yeah.
isn't as sexy. It isn't as fun. You're
Yeah.
not fucking
Yeah.
everyone.
I
Like you're
know.
actually struggling with alcohol. Like whatever. Like I was like, I liked it because it was true to the growth of women, and we don't see
Yeah.
that a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's what is. what's
And
happening.
when it first came out in the mid '90s, right? It was. I think that's when it first aired.
98?
98, late
Yeah.
late night.
Yeah.
It was. I remember watching it
Mm.
for the first time, and I was in my early 20s. It was groundbreaking. There
Yeah.
was nothing like that on
Yes.
I
TV
was
at the time.
shocked watching
Nothing
those
like
that.
episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so watching it again now, it's incredible because there aren't like a lot of women's journeys while they're totally blown out of proportion in
Yeah.
so many ways. But like
Yeah.
you have like the lawyer feminist, you have the publicist who's
Yeah.
free to never want kids. I mean, there are so many storylines that are so important to the continued fight for women's rights
Right,
that we
yeah.
keep fighting, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I think a great show recently, Harlem, is a
Harlem.
Oh,
great.
I haven't seen it.
on
Oh,
Amazon.
it is
It's,
so-
it's a modern version of Sex and the City of
Oh.
black women.
Yeah, people of color. Yeah,
Amazing.
it is. The way they do it is just so relatable.
This season has 2 queer storylines
Yeah.
for the
Great.
characters of the 4.
The
of
main
them.
characters, which I love that there's main character queer women
Yes.
storylines that are
Yes.
mixed in, not just like the L Word or when a like a queer
Right.
show.
Right, right,
This
Yeah.
is a hetero like
Yeah.
show with 2 strong queer women
Oh,
storylines.
wow.
Yeah.
I'll
So
definitely
good
start
this
watching
season.
that. I don't think I
Yeah.
watch a lot of stuff on
Yeah.
Amazon. I'm more of like an HBO,
HBO,
Netflix,
yeah,
Hulu
see,
person.
same, yeah.
We-
Harlem's worth checking out. If you guys out there haven't seen it, we've talked about it on the show
Yeah.
before. It's a really good season.
I'm-
this
and
season.
funny too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I'm
really funny.
about to start that. We just fucking have been binging on the one with Jason. Oh my god,
Bateman? Ozark?
It's from HBO, and he is a therapist with Harrison Ford.
Oh, I
Jason,
saw the
yes.
thing
Oh
for
my god,
this.
what is it called? Not.
Oh,
I'm
I can't
totally
think of the name
having
of
the
it
full
either.
blank.
I could
saw
see
the
the
You
ad
guys,
in
it's
my head.
so
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
Is
okay.
I'll find it. Yeah,
Okay.
the
I'll
name.
have
It's
to
like
give that one a try.
can't think of
Oh,
the name
that's
'cause I-
so on my stoner TV. What I've been obsessed with lately is
Yeah.
I'm totally gonna geek out. I'm sorry, everybody. So as you know, I'm a bit of a gamer when I do stone because that's when me and my twin brother lives in New York, so we play games. That's how we whatever. Disney's Dream Valley made for children, but I am obsessed with it. When I'm
Wait, is that the
stoned.
one with like the Mickey and friends?
No, you're
what-
thinking of Kingdom Hearts. This is called
Okay.
Dream Valley, where you like garden and you like plant stuff.
I
It's
would
like
love that
fun.
actually.
and you
I'm
collect
in.
coins and you like help Mickey and stuff on these.
I
It's
would
so
love that.
stupid.
That's
But when
my
I
kind
am
of game.
stoned out of my mind, I will play for hours. It
Oh,
is. I am
it's better than
obsessed.
Instagram fucking doom scrolling. like-
Oh, and TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Oh,
TikTok
you-
scrolling.
I won't have it on my phone. I'm like so
I don't
afraid
I don't
of the
use
hole that
TikTok.
it would be.
Oh, you don't? I get
No,
into it.
I
Something
just-
changed with my algorithm on Instagram a
Yeah.
few months ago, and it's like my usage time time like skyrocketed.
Are you
like
serious?
Overnight, like I swear to God, it was like my friends and like so fun. Okay, I'm good. And now I'm just like, love that makeup, love that thing. Oh my God, like it's the full crack. You've got it. Like it's, I can't, like it's
and
so crazy.
You start buying things off of it.
Oh,
and you're like, they've got me.
They got you.
You sneeze and say like I'm fat, and they're like, Jim, this is like you're like, oh my
so
God,
true. Oh my God, you're so.
Oh my God, anything I say.
Oh wow. Well, it has been an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Having you on the show. How do people find you? Give them all the deeds. How do they find the podcast and all of that?
So San Diego Magazine's Not a Parenting Podcast can be found on sandiegomagazine.com. We're on all streaming platforms, and our new season will be launching Mother's Day. ChromeCityCreative.com for the Chrome City Studios, and the Blank Table is the blanktablesd.com. We're also on Instagram. And I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. Sorry, yeah.
How do people find you, Eric?
You can find me on Instagram at
lower that.
Wow.
Okay.
Cutting me
Sorry,
off
I know.
these
Go ahead.
days.
Go ahead. Sorry. I forgot to adjust the volume before we start. Go ahead.
At Daddy Bear Eric on it.
Yes, and you guys, Bryn will be back next week with us. You can find me at Tony_Baloney_Macaroni on Instagram. We're Who Invited Her _podcast on Instagram. You're Who Invited Her SD on Twitter and Facebook. Don't forget, you can email us at thegang@whoinvitedher.net. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and notification button. You can also watch us on Out at TV every single Tuesday night. I think we come out on that. And that is it. We will. Oh, we have merchandise. Don't forget to go to the website, whoinvitedher.net. We have a bunch of new merchandise. I added some shirts. They're a little racy. But you remember how we put the list together of all the shirts that our past guests have suggested?
Yeah.
Those are starting to come to fruition.
I love
so
that.
go on there. But that is it for us. We will see everybody next week. Thank you again, Alexandria.
Thanks
so much.
for
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
I admire you so much because you're one of the few people I've met who has a business brain and a creative brain, and that's been amazing.
Right?
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
There's very few people
and
in the
you're
world
funny.
like that. Yes.
You're funny.
Thanks, guys. I needed that.
Right?
Yeah.
We will see everybody next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.